Today I am going to talk with you about something that I, as a Christian apologist, have discovered, entitled, "Are We Really Just Cosmic Accident? Or Mario in a Simulation?" Imagine for a moment that you wake up tomorrow to a headline. Local man wins the lottery. Again. 400 days in a row. You'd assume the game is rigged. Nobody would say, well, the odds are low, but hey, someone has to win. At some point, chance stops being a serious explanation and starts sounding like denial. Now, stretch that feeling out to the whole universe. Tonight, I want to ask a simple question. Does our world look more like an accident or like something meant? And if it looks meant, what does that say about us? I'm coming at this as someone who believes in the Christian story. But my goal here is not to preach. It's to follow the evidence where it seems to point, using tools that logical, skeptical people can appreciate. I'll touch 3 ideas: the precision of our home, the peculiarity of us, the power of a better story. 1. The precision of our home. First, the Earth. We live on a small rock circling an average star in a galaxy among billions. On the surface, that sounds humbling. But look closer at the details. Our planet orbits in what astrobiologists call the habitable zone. Not too hot, not too cold, where liquid water can exist. Tilt the axis differently, tweak the orbit more, thin the atmosphere, remove the magnetic field, take away plate tectonics, or move us to a different kind of star, and complex life quickly becomes impossible. Then you zoom out to the universe itself. The basic physical constants, gravity, the strength of the electromagnetic force, the cosmological constant, and many others, appear to sit in extremely narrow, life-permitting ranges. Shift some of those even slightly, and you don't get different life. You get no stars, no chemistry, no stable structures at all. Now, reasonable people can debate the numbers, but many of the estimates people use for a life-friendly universe and the first self-replicating life are not like 1 in 100. They're more like 1 in 10 to the power of 40, or 1 in 10 to the power of 50, or worse. Those numbers are hard to feel, so let's put them on the same shelf as things we do understand. In the United States, your odds of being struck by lightning at least once in your lifetime are about 1 in 15,000. Your odds of winning a major lottery jackpot are around 1 in 292 million. So, lightning once in your life, 1 in 15,000. Winning one big lottery, 1 in approximately 300 million. We treat both as practically impossible, and we organize our lives accordingly. Now compare that with the kinds of probabilities often discussed for a universe like ours emerging by pure accident, and for complex life doing the same. They're not like winning one lottery once. They're more like winning the lottery every day for years, and maybe being struck by lightning every hour of your life for good measure. Nobody would shrug at that and say, well, someone had to get lucky. At some point, chance is no longer the no-faith option. It becomes a massive faith commitment of its own. The other option is simple. Maybe the dials are set where they are because someone wanted them there. 2. The peculiarity of us. Second, us. We are made of the same atoms as everything else. but we do very strange things for collections of atoms. We write symphonies and poems. We fall in love. We feel guilt. We argue about justice and human rights. We build mathematics so precise that it can predict what distant galaxies are doing. If we are simply a temporary arrangement of particles shaped by time and chance, certain questions become very uncomfortable. Why does truth matter? Evolution cares about survival, not necessarily about accurate beliefs. If a false belief helps your genes propagate, evolution is just fine with that. Why does justice feel binding? If morality is nothing more than group habits that helped our ancestors cooperate, why do we treat genocide, abuse, or betrayal as genuinely wrong, even when they're legal, common, or advantageous? Across cultures and centuries, humans keep acting as if some things really ought not to be done, and other things really ought to be done, even when they cost us. That stubborn sense of oughtness looks a lot less like an evolutionary glitch and a lot more like a clue. A hint that the universe is not morally empty, that there is a real difference between good and evil, justice and injustice, not just personal preference. And if there is a real moral law built into reality, it is natural to ask, what kind of reality can support that law? The classical Christian answer is a moral lawgiver, a mind behind the universe whose character is the standard for good. That doesn't automatically prove the Bible or any specific theology, but again, it's a more natural fit than pure accident. 3. The power of a better story. Now, you might at this point grant that the universe looks uncannily set up. Some respond to that by saying, fine, maybe there's a higher intelligence, but maybe we're just in a simulation. Maybe we're like characters in a video game, Mario in 3D. That idea is popular because it admits design, but dodges responsibility. If we're just NPCs in some cosmic game, then we don't really owe anyone anything. But let's think it through. A simulation still requires a designer, a goal, a reality beyond the simulation. If someone went to the trouble of constructing a universe with deep mathematical structure, stable physical laws, rich beauty, conscious agents, moral awareness, and this strange human hunger for meaning, love, and justice, what is more plausible? That we are trivial entertainment, or that we are meant? If the universe is a story, it's a very expensive one. It doesn't look like a throwaway project. This is where the Christian story, at its best, offers what I think is the most compelling narrative on the table. It starts with a garden, a world made good, where human beings are meant for relationship with a personal creator, for stewardship, and for joy. It explains the fracture, human pride, the desire to be our own gods, leads to the brokenness and injustice we all see and feel. It doesn't deny evil or call it illusion. It names it, judges it, and then does something remarkable. It says the Creator Himself steps into His own story in the person of Christ to absorb the cost of that evil and open a path of forgiveness and restoration. And it ends not with escape, but with a renewed creation, a kind of garden city where justice is finally done, relationships healed, and the deep intuitions we all carry about how the world should be are finally fulfilled. You don't have to agree with that story yet, but notice what it does. It takes the precision of the world seriously, a universe that looks like it's meant for life and relationship. It takes the weight of morality seriously. Evil is real. Justice matters. Victims are not illusions. It gives human beings a purpose that fits the scale of the cosmos. Not background noise in a simulation, but image bearers invited into communion with the author. So here is the question I'd leave you with. Given the razor thickness of the conditions that make life possible, the strange richness of human minds and morals, and the deep longing we all have for meaning and justice, which takes more faith? To believe that all of this, every constant, every law, every molecule of DNA, every conscience, every tear, is the product of cosmic accident or a purposeless simulation? Or to believe that behind it all is a wise, personal, caring creator who intended a world like this and who intended you? For me, the accident story and the "we're just Mario" story demand more faith than I'm capable of. The idea that the universe is not an accident, that we are not accidents, and that there is a good God who meant us to be here, that does not shut down reason. It makes sense of it. And that is why, in the end, I am persuaded.